Hi, in this video I will show you how to put together this side-by-side UTV box, which is an SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. And I will show you how to put it together after you cut everything out. It even has a little gift box on the back. So in 2022 I made changes to the original, it's the side-by-side UTV box, which is the little 3D UTV with a little box on the back that opens. So I made some changes, so if you do have this file, you might want to update it. You can keep your original file if you want it the way it is. This is the same except for some minor things. Some additions or changes are these are the seats covers. It's just a blue, I already put these together. There's a blue panel back here with this black panel in front, so you'd have to glue those two together. I've made some dash changes. The overall look is similar. Just been a little bit of enhancements on the actual file because things were a little slightly, there were a couple little issues. And I also doubled up the tires. So when we do the tires or wheels, we'll want to go ahead and put two together. So you'll want to just put two together to help with the stability of it sitting, because these kind of bend, and you could even do three. If you want to do chipboard, you could put a little circle behind that if you wanted to make it stronger. It's going to sit on these little pieces. I made a design decision not to change that because those will get squished over time sitting, but with them doubled up, it'll help. So you'll want to glue them two each together for all four wheels to strengthen them. So we have all the color pieces, and I'll show you where all those go. So just giving you an idea what the pieces are. All these tires. Okay, and then we have the middle of the wheels and in here, just so you can see a finished one. We just took the black piece and put it on a metallic, so that's another enhancement. It was white before, but we made that metallic because I think it would pop better. So here's the wheels. Then here are all the black pieces, so these are side pieces. It goes with these side pieces. This is the actual hood. And we have the seats, so we'll show you how to put one together. I'll put one together prior to that, and then we'll put one together, show you how to put that together. And then the other thing I what I added was these additional pieces. You could either do one additional piece included with the file, or you could make another set of these. And this is for the roof, and it just helps to support the roof a little bit better. The roof got a little flimsy over time. It depends on the paper you use, so I'll use American Crafts textured cardstock. So I'm just moving these aside slowly but surely. This will be for the dash. So the dash is now layered, so if you have done this file before, it'll be like this. So no more little pieces, because these used to be little teeny pieces. I've gone away from designing like that. And then the rest of the pieces. So we'll go through all these as we put it together. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put these together. So what you might want to do to get prepped is take the reason I say this, because as you get tired, it gets harder to do things. So this little work right here, just go ahead and make sure you're not there. This is the steering wheel. Make sure you don't do this. That's not part of that. But find all the wheel pieces like that, and then just put them all together before you start. Same thing with these. We're going to glue these back to back. So I'll do one to show you. So let me go ahead. Those are all dark gray. I'm putting those aside. So just really quick, you just want to go ahead and make sure it's textured side up. If you use textured paper like I do, add a little glue. Don't go heavy because you don't want it. If you're using metallic like I am as a background, it smears really easily, so you have to be really careful how you place it, especially with this little edge that I have. I could have made it thicker, but I kind of wanted the metal to show through. So I'm going to use these little tweezers to place it. I just did it by hand before and I was getting in the wrong place. And it's about that much of an edge. So the nice thing is if you do get a little glue leakage, which I did on the other tires, just a little bit here and there, it makes it look a little dirtier anyways, because that's the nature of a utility vehicle, is going out into the dirt. So if you even made it dirty, it would even look more authentic actually. So I put those together like that. So I'm going to put them back in my little embellishment bowl so I don't lose them. That's the reason why I have all these pieces in here. So when I go to get them, they're there. Oh, these are the flagpoles, by the way. That's optional, but I'll show you at the very end. And for these, what I say, like I said, these kind of like bend easily. So I found that when I was working with it, and we don't have to match them up. I like to put a dot of glue where those are. And it seems like I'm taking a long time, but you just kind of, using these little fine tip applicators bottles, it makes it a little bit easier. So go back to back, line them up with the little teeth. So it's just going to give it a little bit more secure, like when it's standing up on edge. So if you feel like that's not thick enough for you, just add another layer, just cut 4 more out and put another layer on. It's just as you put them on, if you don't put them on accurately, they can get offset, but that's one thing that I wasn't quite thrilled with on the first build. So I would do 3D tires, but if I did 3D tires like all the way, like thickness, then it changes the whole look. So it's not the original design. So that would be a brand new design. I mean, I thought about doing some sort of thing like that in the future, but I've decided against it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and then we'll go on to actually start putting it together. So we already put one seat together. So when we put the seat together, this will glue right there. So we're going to glue that together, show you how that goes. And then these, I have all the tires ready to go. Just added the little wheel pieces. So you just want to center that. Then I'll show you how to put together that seat. So you need to make sure it's folded. I'm just going to make sure we get all sorts of light on this. So that's what it looks like flat. So we're going to fold it and all the tabs. These little tabs, those two, those two. So we're going to fold it right there, right there. And those little 2 tabs are going to go inside. So again, that's what it looks like out. Try not to get glue on that seat part. I had glue on my fingertip. Let me get that off. And then, so what's going to happen is these little tabs are going to glue on the inside, and then this will just fold over. And it's going to be an empty space, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be leaning inside there, so you won't see that. So go ahead and with it folded out, we'll just start with 1 tab. It's a teeny tab. So you want to go ahead and, I'm just going to move this out of sight so it doesn't, the focus doesn't go off. We're going to glue it inside, and I'm lining up this little side edge to the tab fold. And I'm just going to make sure with my fingertip that it's lined up. And you could use something like this. As a pressure if you want to, or whatever it is, depending on the size. I'm going to use this for pressure later on, but so same thing on this side. See that little tab? Right there. Just going to fold this over, line this edge right here up to the front edge of the seat. Just line it up, make sure that's lined up. You can see that's, you might have to hold it a little longer. So then once those are glued, you just want to fold those over right there, those two tabs. So we'll go ahead and add glue to this one. And the second one, they're going to overlap, and that's okay, especially since I don't have another tab to connect it to. I'm just going to fold that over. I'm just lining that up. And this is where something thin, like a really thin tweezers come in handy, because I'm just going to use that to put pressure against that tab, and then I can apply pressure against the tab underneath. Just make sure they're not the sharp ones. I have really sharp ones, but I'm using the blunt ones, and I could always use the blunt edge if you have one of those really sharp ones with the things on the end. I don't have it handy, but I have a really sharp one that could really can hurt people. So, and then once you get that done, just make sure it's all good and not coming apart. We can go ahead and glue this on. Make sure this is folded really well on that seam down there, that score line. We'll just place it right there. So it's going to be at an angle anyways, like that, when it sits. So now we'll move on to the structure of the vehicle, but there's the two seats that are next to each other. Okay, to start with, we have these sides. So we've got the two sides of it. The ones with where this is rounded, that's the back. So that's the rounded tab for the little box that's on the back. And then these are the back tabs. So that's the back, and that's the front. So we want to make sure you pre-fold all these tabs. Some of them, I believe all these will go inside, will glue inside. These will glue inside, and these will glue on top, but I'll show you that as we go. So the pieces that go with this are these. So this is the bottom piece, which will hide the tabs. So it looks like this one. The longest piece is actually the bottom piece that we're going to assemble it with, and then we'll hide the tabs with this later on. So this is the piece you want for the bottom. So with this little notch. So this goes around the back of it. And then this piece is the inside, and I'll explain to you when we get there. So we're going to first put this piece on. So let's go ahead, and we know this is the back. So it's going to go around right here, like that. So we're going to take this piece, make sure this side right here is where these are, okay, and that little rounded tab. So this little notch should be towards that. So just start with one side at a time. So we'll go ahead and just moving some things so I don't hit anything. So we're just going to add glue on this long tab. And there's a fold right here, so we want to make sure we fold it. We can start with this end right here. We're going to line it up. And you'll see how it lines up right up to that inside of that fold. And this score line will match up with that score line. And that's what it looks like on the bottom. So you can see how that looks. And we could put together this side if we wanted to, by gluing these on the inside. It might be easier to do that. You could wait until you put the other side as well. So we're going to glue these 3 tabs to the inside. we're just going to fold it up. You see how we're lining it up here? Line that one up. And then next one. I didn't add glue on the last one. So I'm just pushing that in a little bit until making sure that this lines up. This little tab fold here, the fold lines up with this edge. So I like to use the tip of my finger to feel it. Then we'll do that with that last tab. So we'll do that on the other side too. We just have a little bit more limited space to, not much, but once we get this side on, you have to reach in. So you can't reach in from this open side. So now, again, when you put this one on, make sure these 3 tabs and that rounded tab is towards that back piece. Okay. So now we're just going to go the opposite way. Add glue to this long tab again. We're going to insert that edge. You can start from that side. So I'm going to go turn it around again. Do it the other way. And I actually wrote in pencil on it that says bottom piece, so I mean it's pretty obvious, but I put different things together all the time, so I cut this a couple days ago and I forget. So make sure you get it nice and flat. So again, we'll just glue these 3 inside. We'll add glue to all 3 of them this time. Just make sure that bottom tab's nice and secure before you do this. And so when you're applying glue, I kind of get close to the edge, and I may have to clean it up if there's any leakage, because it is a spot that could be seen. But now I'm going to go from the bottom, so I have to reach in. But just be careful with the glue, because you can always do that and just have a little paper towel to the side. So you can wipe it away. So I'm just reaching inside to glue those 3 tabs. I'll put it up on the edge so you can, hopefully you can see it a little bit better, different angle. So there's the back piece. So that's where the actual box, there's just a little teeny box opening in the back that you'll be able to use to put a little gift card or something like that. So that's the shape of it. So next thing we're going to do is a front. So the pieces you need for the front are these. So this will attach right here. So I'm going to show you. So that'll attach right there. So I'll show you how it goes. We're going to put these 2 pieces together first, and then make sure I have the right pieces here. That doesn't go, that's not that one, it's this one. This one with that little shape in the front. Like that. That goes in the front, and that will attach like that. So we'll go ahead and you could, we're just going to put this together first. Just as easier for us to maneuver in our hands. So putting these 2 pieces together, you can start with the middle piece or the end piece. I'm going to start with the middle piece. So make sure you fold all these tabs. So you see they have side one, we have like that. And then we're going to take this piece and just center this. So this is going to just line right up, line this edge up to the score, or the fold, whatever you want to call it. Make sure it's centered. So these score lines right here, this will line up with that little corner. And then we'll go ahead and glue these other tabs underneath. So this piece right here is where the grill and the headlights will be. A lot of UTVs don't have headlights by default, but this one does. There's different versions of headlights. Found that out. I owned one for a very short period of time. It's pretty dirty on those things with the dirt flying up. So there's not too much to contend with. We can go ahead and just glue that on underneath like that. And then we'll glue these on the inside. So these sides, these 4 tabs will glue on the inside similar to the back. So I'm going to fold them in a little bit. We'll go ahead and add glue to this tab. And putting the tab on the bottom just makes it a little bit stronger because it folds around the edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and line this up. So what I'm trying to do is get it centered and also pushing this edge right here into the inside tab fold. It doesn't take much, you just have to carefully do it, and then once you have it in place, make sure it's in place before you apply pressure. And I may have been just a little bit off, but it wasn't enough. Since this is engineered to size, if it's a little bit off in places, it can be more difficult to put together. So we're going to put these two, we're adding glue on the outside of these 2 tabs. And we're going to go ahead and do like we did on the back. I'm just going to reach in, line that bottom piece up first, that bottom tab. So I'm gluing it on the inside. And then this one you kind of have to fold in. So there's no fold in here, so what you're doing is folding this edge piece right here. So make sure that first one's glued. And then you're carefully folding it over without a score line. So it's kind of angling, okay? So you can see it's kind of a edge. There's just no score line, that's the only difference. You want to make sure that that tab doesn't overlap the score inside. So we'll do the other side real quick so you can see that. So if you wanted to, you could, it might be helpful for you to curl it a little bit. Just a little bit. It's just not scored. So you just have to work the paper, which is nice with paper. Okay, one more go at it. So we're just gonna go and hold it the way that makes sense to you. If you're left-handed and it doesn't make sense to hold it the way I'm holding it, don't hold it that way. I mean, just get it in your hands until it's comfortable and where your hands feel like you can get in and reach. And then see how I just angle it a little bit like that? And then once I get it in place, I just hold it for a little bit. Just hold it in place. Some things that necessarily just removing the score line, it makes it look a little bit better, but it's a little bit tricky even with the panels just right there. But not much, not enough to notice. Only you and I would know because we put it together. So then we'll go ahead and get this piece, and then we'll go ahead and put this together. So you could, for this one, put all the panels on the outside if that's easier for you, and the reason I say that is just to slide them in. Sometimes it's easier for people than to put them underneath. You could put them underneath, but we're going to show on top. And the reason we can do that is because we have we have a hood piece that will cover those tabs, and we also have a dash piece that'll cover the dash portion of it. There are a couple trickier parts on this one, and this is one of them. It's just where you have to reach. But you want to fold this piece then we're going to go ahead and add some glue to this. I'll start with the side tab. Just going to hold this in place. You can do the front as well, but I'm just getting it this corner all the way to the corner. And then fold it over. We don't want to go over, there's a score line right there, so you can see it's scored right there. That'll help you place it. Make sure you get it good in place before you go to the next one. So I'm just going to add glue now to all 3 of these. We want to do them in order. We want to do them pretty close to each other, just because once you get one in place, it'll be easy to do the other 2. And I'm going to use my left hand. Since I'm right-handed, I'm going to hold it such that I can reach in and apply pressure against them. So we're going to go around now. We're going to apply pressure to that first one. And then pushing this edge into the tab fold. And then applying pressure on this top tab. This one was just a little bit off, it looks like. That's okay. I'm just kind of pushing it to get it, that corner is close to the corner it needs to get over there. Things that you can see not necessarily are going to be seen. So if there's just a really minor gap or something like that, don't worry too much about it, especially in this case, because we're going to put the hood on top. So now we're going to go ahead and, oops, I pulled it a little bit. Pull that off. I'm just going to place that. It kind of helped me because now I could place that in a better place. And then fold that over like that. And I forgot to do that one on that side. So you can see how it goes. Just make sure that you get a lot of pressure on them. So for this next piece, we can, it's right here. Oh, no, that's not the one, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to explain this piece. You may want to, this is the natural way it cuts with the texture side up. The way we have to fold it is kind of opposite to what it is. So we kind of need it to go in like this. Okay, but I want the texture side up. So you might want to cut it upside down, which I did not do. So when you cut it upside down, it'll be easier to fold these tabs. So if you don't cut it upside down, I'm going to show you what we have to do. I'm going to use something like a, let me go ahead and close my glue here while I do that. It's a bone folder. I'm going to go fold it the opposite way. So I usually fold it with the mountain fold first, which is the natural, and then I'm using my bone folder to go the other way. So this would be, it could be difficult with something like a Cricut that doesn't score the deepest. And I actually cut my score lines with a little kiss cut, and it's a little bit difficult, but if you don't want to do what I'm doing right here, and you want texture side up, or if you don't care if it's the non-textured side up and you have double-sided colored paper, who cares? You can do the opposite side. But what this is going to do now is going to get glued in here. So it's going to glue like this. So that's the back piece, the front piece. So that's the inside, like that. So the only difference is this is going to go under here. So we're just going to glue this under. So that's how we'll, so once you get it folded, we'll just go ahead and add glue to this tab. Going to insert this. And I want this edge to line up to the inside tab fold. So I'm just going to line it up. Then once I have it lined up, I don't need to look at it anymore. I just need to apply pressure. So I'm just rubbing my fingers on the inside and the outside to get it secured like that. So that now that it's up like that, we can add glue to these tabs. So we'll just start with these four. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're not going to be able to get pressure behind these. So what we'll have to do is rub them, but so don't push them in too far, so we can get a little bit of pressure. You might be able to get pressure on those if we could reach in sideways, but it is difficult. I've done this many times, so because I want it closed up this way, so I'm going to line this up. I'm just folding this over, which you can see from the side, trying to get that folded into place. Oops. Something just got stuck. So from the front, it's kind of awkward on video. From the front, I'm trying to get it lined up, push it in so we have these edges lined up. I may have waited too long on the other side. It's still pliable. This is where you knowing your glue helped you. I might need just a little bit more glue, but I'm also trying to get that in the edge. But I pushed too far in. So here we go. This is the reason why I had you only do the 4. So the only thing that was off a little bit for me was right here. So, but it was just a little bit too much out. But we're trying to line it up. It will line up. It's just the person doing it. So now we're going to just glue those two. Like that. And if you want to, you could at this point glue this end before. If you want to do that, we can do that. Let's go ahead and do that because I think it'll be easier than the way I was doing it before. So this is there's a rounded edge that's going to go in to make it a box. This one with the sharp corners is the one we want to glue on this edge. So I'm just going to line it up. Just make sure you do it on the back side. So I'm just lining that piece up. And once we get this lined up, we'll go ahead and glue it to these 2 tabs here. So we won't have to glue these because unless you don't want it as a box, if you don't want it as a box, you can just glue this on the inside and glue those 2 tabs. But if you want to use it as a little gift box to put a little gift card in here or a little like candy or something, then you would want to keep that open. Because in my opinion, this would be a good birthday box or Father's Day box for a guy that's into doing some of those outdoor activities like 4x4 or UTV, ATV. You know, this is considered a side-by-side, but a utility vehicle. But I know a lot of people do that. So I'm going to start on one side. Just going to kind of line it up. And I can reach in here and apply pressure. If you need a chopstick, wooden chopstick would work well to reach in with the blunt end, or anything else that you have that has a blunt end. I'm just getting these tabs out of the way so I can reach in, and just I'm lining it up as I go, so you can see I'm lining it up. Since I have this handy, I'm just going to put it in. I just need to make sure I don't poke all the way through to the bottom there. Not the best tool. Here's actually a plastic version. I have wood ones, but I've moved them to different locations, so I need to find out where I put those. Always organization issues. So this now is the box. goes in, and then it can open to hold the little gift. So that's the body. And if you do need to do any more, like if you see any gaps on the side, like I see one right here, you can always go in with a little glue and get that taken care of. So it's just a matter of time. If you have one little thing, you could use a little piece of paper with glue on the end. I did learn that trick from another designer, so nothing's really original. I think my techniques are my techniques, but it's really after, you know, kind of learning from others too. So this side has that too. So if you need anything like that, if you feel like it's a little bit away, then you can just go ahead and fix it. But we'll just call that good enough for now. And then we'll go on to the next step. So now we're going to go ahead and put on the hood and the dash. I don't need that particularly. So here's the hood piece. So we're just going to put that in place, and then I have little foam dots on the bottom. I'm just going to put that, it goes actually like this. But if you like it like that, you could go that way. But that's how it's designed. So let's put that on, and then we'll put together the dash pieces. So this is going to hide all those tabs. So I would line it up at the front first, and then have it. I'm just angling a little bit. It could be a little bit of the gray still showing afterwards. I mean, it's the same size, but if it's a little bit, you have a little gaps, that's what's going to happen. Then we can just take the little things off the back. And I'm only doing this because I want it to stay on, but I'm going to add a little my liquid glue onto my dots. I do recommend Scotch foam tape. It seems to last longer for me, but I don't want it popping off because I'm going to be displaying it. But it should be sufficient most times. It just depends on the tape. Now we're going to go ahead and put together, let's layer this. These are the dash pieces. So this piece is just to cover the tabs. That's not part of it, that's headlights. And then we have the black piece for the buttons, and then the blue piece for the color of the UTV. So we'll just put them in order. Black one first, and it's that little circular thing that's supposed to be emulate a little instrument panel, speedometer, oil level, that kind of thing. There's not much on those machines. A little bit. There's some buttons and some lights that show up, and sometimes lights you don't want to see. And then I'm making sure I'm putting the glue on the pieces with the hole, because you don't know where it's going to land, so you want to make sure you do that. And I'm going to line up that hole there. And if you wanted to, you could put something else there. If you wanted white on the back, whatever color you wanted. If you wanted a white instrument panel, I mean, if you want to get intricate, you could actually draw them there. And then we have a, I'm looking for my steering wheel. The steering wheel. I'm just getting everything out so I have it available for the end of it, because the little pieces are coming up. And what I'll do is I'll pop it up a little bit. So I'm going to wait to put that on because I just don't want to get squished as I'm maneuvering and putting the roof on. So I'm going to wait to put that on. But I can put this flat piece on. I am going to put a little pop dot to just pop it up. And put a little enamel dot at the end, or a perler bead to give like a little horn in the middle. So you just have to get it in place and I just lightly rub it to get it there. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on the roof. So let me bring that over. I already folded it. So this is the back, this is the front. So this little squiggly represents the back. And we have these reinforcement pieces. I already put one on one side, on this side. So we're going to put it on the other side. So that's what you want to do, is put the reinforcement pieces. And since I was using textured cardstock, I put the non-textured side I glued together, just because it's easier to glue and it will glue better. Probably should put glue on the other side, just in case I drop this thing. So line it up at the ends first. Make sure it lines up. And I'm just going to come down here. I don't want it, this helps to, if it's buckling, but you can always add another layer if you need to. Just like the wheels or tires. This part would buckle sometimes. So I just added another, just options to put reinforcement, especially for those that might be using thinner cardstock, but I'm using 80-pound American Craft texture cardstock. So that's it. So just make sure it's folded like this, and then we're going to attach it. So the reason we're waiting to put these sides on is to hide these pieces right here. And then we'll put the, let's go ahead and put these in, so we don't have to maneuver around there. The rest of it will be on the outside. So we can go ahead and just put the seats in, and I'm just going to eyeball, give them a little distance in between, and just add a little glue to the bottom. And you don't want to go all the way up, you only want to go as far as like right here. And you can see that little opening on the back, but nobody's ever going to see that. So I'm going to use this as my benchmark, how far I go from the other side. So whatever works for you. A little close, but and you could open this back piece right here and reach in, but I don't think it's necessary. You can just gently rub and hold it in place. And then the second one. Remember to not go beyond that, really, this curved area. And you could just mix up the colors on this if you wanted. I went a little bit too far on that one. That's okay. See how many people mention it in the photo. So I am a crafter first and foremost, so when I make mistakes like that. But I think this is just free-form crafting anyways, this part. So once we get that in place, we'll go ahead and add the roof piece. So as I hold this, if you do like this project, I ask if you could give me a little thumbs up on the video and or subscribe to our channel. And if you hit that little notification bell to the right, you'll be notified when we have any new videos. Could be tutorials or new projects, freebies, or projects like this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add this, and make sure this big part's in the back. So we can go ahead and do this. And it's going to attach like that. So that's going to line up right on the top and then the edge. So we want to just add glue to this. We'll do the other side in a minute. Try not to pull on it too much. Just moving it over because I don't want to get out of view here. There are the sides we're going to put on after the fact. So this one goes right there. If we go a little bit too far, it's okay. And this one will sit right there. So you want to hold them in place. So if you can see, they're angled so they don't go beyond here. Gives you an idea with this and that, and then the same thing here and there. And this will help hold it in place. So now I'm just going to carefully reach under to add without pulling on it. Add glue. Then we'll do the same here. Just line it up. So those that did it before this version, we didn't have this. I've added this part to make it easier to place this. But you do have to rub it for quite a while. And then this will be covered by the side panels. So you see it's coming together. So just a couple more things and we will be done with it. So I just added this bottom panel to hide those tabs. And then we'll be able to put the little axles, the square rectangular axles that we have, that we can, once we get that on, we can always do that to secure it. So now we want to do these sides. So I'm being really gentle too. You don't want to be like squishing it or anything because it's all hollow. So now let's go ahead and put the sides on. I already put one side together. So the way it goes together is like this. Overlaps. I have a little piece of dry glue there. So the best way to glue it is to add glue to the black piece. So you're going to add glue to everything except for this skinny piece. So we'll start over there. I'm going to avoid this top piece really quick here. This does shoot up a little taller, so you just want to go a little bit on the flat piece, like that. And then this is needs to go upside down. Oops, I got a little glue on that where it shouldn't be. Let's do it from the top. It's just easier to see from the top. So we start there. It's going to line up with that bottom piece. So once we get it lightly down, let's get it into place by just going around the edges. Just kind of fix that from the back there. See how that sticks up a little bit? I just don't want that color to show when it's sticking up. So this will go on the side like this, and the other side the same way. So we already put this side together. So we put this on already. We're going to go ahead and put this side on. So what you want to do is going to go on like that. So you don't want glue up here. You want the glue up to the blue pieces on the back of that one black. So then it'll go like that. So let's go ahead and add glue to the back of this. So the hardest part to get glued will be where we have those little supports for the roof and the very front. So we're going to go ahead and carefully line it up before we place it down. So it's always safer to go higher on this one there. There we go. Just lightly place it. We don't want glue where we don't want it. So I'm going to start with this front piece here. Just going to rub it a little bit. And this, what I would recommend is to ink all these edges with black ink. If you don't know inking, it's just kind of rubbing it with ink, and it helps clean up any of the roughness that you may have. I'm just making sure this lines up here. And I'm just going to apply pressure. I just opened up the box, and I can apply pressure from the inside in this spot. I can't do that on the front, but we can certainly do that on the back. Be careful, don't pull that flap too far. Unless you glued it, and of course you can't do that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just pop that back in. It looks like it's staying on the front. This side had a little bit of issues. Just slight issues. And I did get a little glue on that one by accident, but it'll be hiding. I'll be hiding it. So there are things you can do when you have mistakes. So when we do this one, we're just going to put these boxes, and that's what's going to help lift it. So it's my early version of a square, like a rectangular axle. So let's go ahead and put the front things on though first. So right here, we're going to add a little grill. I'm just going to rub it lightly. We don't need to have score line. I think we do have a little score line here. We don't on that one. So we have a little metallic background for this. So right here. So we're going to add that to the back. And you can add glue to a little bit. Be careful if you're using metallics. I'm just doing really light drops because I really don't want the glue showing on the metallic. And it is slightly smaller, so you want to get into place to start with. So it's upside down. To get it into place and just lay it down. So you see how where that is? So as long as you get it pretty much square in the middle, there's a little glue showing still, but that's okay. I'd rather it be there than on the metallic part, because we're not going to see that anyways. And then we have these pieces for the headlights. So those are slightly smaller. We're just going to add glue to the edges here. Add those two pieces. So I'm making sure that it's upside down so that the texture side is showing on the other side. I may add some glitter glue or something to the front. You could use glitter paper. I'm not a fan of cutting it out, so I don't always do that. I mean, it does work. I don't know why I don't use it. I have a ton of it. You don't see me using a lot of glitter, but I like to control where my glitter goes, so sometimes I like to see what it's like before. And I did get a little glue leakage down there, but I'm going to let it dry because it'll dry clear. So let's go ahead and put together the backlights too. So this one just goes like this. And this lines up, I'm getting the texture side up, lines up right here. That cut right there. So we want to go ahead and just add glue back here. Just like this. If you don't get close to the openings, it's less likely for it to leak. And we don't have anything to glue down there, so we only go just like that. And we could do this, I'm going to do it upside down so I can see. I'm just going to line that middle part up. That's the most important part right there. Right there. That little V. And then it gets it right where it needs to be. So that's for the back. So we're just going to glue this on. I'll show the last of it, but it goes like this. Oops. like that. Let's see, at an angle, it'll just glue right there. So we're going to do a little pop dot on that. So I took this really thin, I have these thin strips from Amazon that I got. They're just thin foam strips and they're good. I haven't used them yet for like a shaker, but that's what I got them for, and they're good for really small places. And even though you can kind of see it there, I still like it popped up. So I have that steering wheel popped up. I mean, you could put it straight in the middle and you wouldn't be able to see it, but I just gave it a little bit more support. So now we'll just add these. So this is going to glue to the front. Right in this space right here. Get it in place, I would just center it and just rub it to get it secured there. And then I would just go ahead and do the same with the backlights. And when you get on this curved area right here, just make sure that I didn't quite get enough glue, but I want to be careful with the glue because I know it shows on black. And those are the most logical colors to use on something like this. And then we do the back the same. So that goes right here. So right there. Okay. So I'll put that on in a moment. But that's easy. That's just a straight glue. Now we need to build these. This is the little square axle, or rectangular axle, I should say, squared off. So we're going to go ahead and fold this and just glue this together. So this is how it goes together. Pretty simple. I would start on this side. Add glue on these two side tabs. Then we'll just line that up and glue those tabs on the inside. So similar, this is just a bigger version of the seat, much bigger version. I mean, it's not just, but we're just gluing those tabs to the inside. And I have a little glue on my fingertips right now, so I'm going to just clean that off. So I have a little wet, this is just not as damp as I'd like it to be. I have a little water dispenser here to help me get it damp again without going in the other room. So we're doing the same, but the only difference is this has that long bottom piece, bottom or top piece, whatever it ends up being. But we're just lining up that tab fold to that edge there, and then I'm just making sure that it lines up. I have a little glue on my fingertips, so I'm going to get it off. And then this is just a simple box. We're just going to put glue on these tabs. And so it came apart like right there. So just make sure you hold it long enough. I'm just rushing a little bit more than I should. I don't want you to rush. Just slow down a little bit here. Now this is just adding glue just to close the box. So this is truly just a rectangular box to act as one of the two wheel axis. I can say that right. So I'm just going to push that in with the glue. And I'm just rubbing it lightly to get it in place. And then you can do this. So we might as well finish the detail work up. Get that out of our way. So we have this, if you want to do the flag, I just added after the fact. You could have done it before you added the sides. You may need this a little stiffer than it is, but if it is, you might want to use thicker cardstock or something like that. But I'm just going to glue them back to back. I would say probably 2 to 3, depending on the thickness of your cardstock, but I'm putting them, gluing them together with the non-texture side together. But you know, by default, a flagpole is kind of flimsy anyways when you're driving. So if it's a little bent, that would look more normal in my book. So here's, I have put a happy face in the past, but I didn't on this one. So whatever you want to do, whatever color, or if you want to put an emblem or something like that, we're just going to glue it like that. Even if you wanted to make it a little bit more stylish, you could put a little V in the middle of it. So here I'm going to show you with the white one. So this is the one I was using as my test. So if you, for some reason, you want a different look, here's a real quick way to get it. Let me get me a little pair of scissors. I have my big pair of scissors. So I don't have my little pair of scissors, but right here, you see that you could always do this if you wanted to. A little bit more eloquently than me, but I'm using big scissors because I can't locate my smaller ones. But you don't want to do it while it's on there, but you could do something like that if you wanted to. So now that if you wondered, this is how I tested this box before I put it out there. So that's when I had round seats. I changed it to round seats, but I wanted a little bit more flavor, more personality. So if you want to do that, you want to do that before you connect it. Or you could just do a triangular one. I mean, there's other versions, obviously. I'm just going to add glue to one side. Have it sticking out a little bit on the top. And fold it. We won't put it on quite yet. It's the last thing you want to do. So I haven't put this on yet. I'm going to put that on. I have a real frog in my throat, so let me go clear it and I'll be right back. So now we want to add these little springs pieces. So I know it doesn't look like a true spring, but it would be hard to do that. So we're just going to add these. Just make sure you have the correct side. So the way you'll know is it goes kind of curves down. So we're just going to put those right here. That little glue mark is going to hide. But if you do get glue, you might want to wipe it with a little wet towel, especially metallic. So we'll do that on the other side. You'll see some flaws on the other side, but don't worry about it. I wasn't going to show you, but sometimes I make mistakes, but they're easy to fix. You won't see them when we're done. So make sure you put it in about the same place. It just goes along the edge of that little support there. And then we'll go ahead and add these. Make sure those are good. The one's kind of poofing out there. Push that in a little bit. So these are going to go down here. So you want to glue them about this right to the front edge of this, that little axle. I know it doesn't make sense it would be centered, but when you put the tire on, or the wheel, it'll look fine. So just choose whichever side you want to put it on. It's the same size all the way around. So just glue it on and make sure it's straight across. So I'm just going to flip it over. It's close enough. And you want to hold it for a bit until it sticks. And then we'll put the same one. We're going to put the other one a little bit in like that. So It shows a little bit in from the edge. Okay, so I'll attach that, and we'll come back to put these on. So once I got these glued on, I'm just kind of holding it down in the middle with 2 fingers on top of the middle just to give some pressure down for these little axles. So we don't want them falling off. So that's the nice thing about liquid glue. So now I'm just going to put it sideways for a moment there, and we can put these on. So these will go beyond underneath it. So you can kind of see how far away they are. This could go down a little farther so you could at least see 3 of those. I wanted to put them a little bit further just in case you pop up, because if you pop them up, which actually wouldn't look bad actually, but if you pop them up to give dimension for the wheels, which we'll do now because I thought about it, then you can still see some of those underneath it, and that's the reason why it's so big. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll line it up across. So it looks about, this is the good right here. So that's almost quite center. So you just want to match it a little bit on the other side. And I mean, if it's off a little bit, it's not a huge deal. So we'll do that on the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some foam tape here, and then we'll go ahead and attach it with that. So we got this. So now it's just a matter of how much I need. So I use special scissors for this type of tape because it gets sticky, and then I clean my scissors every once in a while. So if you wondered, I don't like to ruin them. So I'm just going to go like this all the way to the bottom here. That one's probably just a little bit too long for me. And I'll show you one, and I'll do the rest of them. This one probably the same amount, but it can be shorter. I don't want it showing off the side here. So that's a little bit overkill, so we'll change it a little bit for the next ones. So I just want to make sure I have it in the right place and centered. I can kind of see it from the center. But really what looks good to you, but the biggest thing will be, so that's popped up a little bit. The biggest thing will be trying to match this up to the height of the other ones right here. So let me go ahead and do the rest of them, and then we'll just add that flag, and we'll be done. Now I have all the tires, the wheels on, so you can see it sits down, and you can see what it looks like with that on. The front and the back. And remember, we have this little opening for a little gift or gift card. And then we're going to go ahead, I am going to add a couple of these enamel dots in the middle for the wheels. But that's it. So let's just go ahead and add this little flag. So you can put it wherever you wanted to. What's kind of cool is they kind of go like that. So you can put them on that side. And I just glue it on the inside here. Or you can glue it on the inside of this as well. There's a lot of real UTVs, so I'm going to add a little glue to end here. They just attach to the poles. So it's up to you whether you want to use that part, but I think it's fun. Since I don't have a lot of variation in color on this is why I added a little bit more metallic. And of course this little flag, whatever color or emblem or anything you put on it. So there it is. I hope you enjoy this project if you decide to do it. And I'm sure the person that gets it will love it. Thanks for watching, and until next time.